Welcome to another Duel Links Decks video. Today we are going to have our Geargia Overdrive deck. Before we begin, there are a few things that we need to remember when using a Geargia deck. First is that for the Geargia monsters that we use, their effects rely on other Geargias, which means you need to have at least 2 Geargias on the field for their effect to work. Second, since we are using Pulse Mines, the Pulse Mine Trap card will only trigger as long as you have a Geargia on the field. Third, is that we are using the skill firm as the Earth, unlike the typical Geargia decks that has balance or restart. Now that we have all of that out of our way, let's head on to our deck list. First, we have 3, Geargia Attacker. Once per turn, you can change this card to face down defense position. When this card is flipped face up, you can destroy any number of spell or trap cards on the field, up to the number of other Geargia monsters you control. This is our main way to clear our opponent's back row. As mentioned at the beginning of the video, this effect will only work if you have other Geargia monster or monsters on the field aside from the one being flipped face up. And then we have 2, Geargia Accelerator. If you control a Geargia monster, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target one Geargia monster in the graveyard, except Geargia Accelerator, and add it to your hand. You could replace this with Geargia Arsenal if you want, or have one Geargia Accelerator and one Geargia Arsenal depending on your preference. We just prefer Geargia Accelerator since it has the ability to bring back our other monsters back from the graveyard. Next, we have 3, Geargia Anchor. Once per turn, you can change this card to face down defense position. If this card is flipped face up, you can destroy monsters on the field, up to the number of other Geargia monsters you currently control. Geargia Anchor is almost the same as Geargia Attacker, except that it focuses on monsters instead of spells or traps. Again, as we've said earlier, this card also depends on the other Geargia monsters you control for its effect to activate. That is all for our monster cards. Now, let's check out our spells and traps. First we have 3, Ties of the Brethren. Pay 2,000 life points, then target one level 4 or lower monster you control. For the rest of this turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters. Also special summon 2 monsters from your deck, with the same type, attribute and level as that monster, but with different names from each other and that monster. You cannot conduct battle phase the turn you activate this card. This is the most important card on this deck, especially during the earlier turns of the duel. This allows you to special summon your monsters, having 3 monsters in just one turn, allowing you to swarm your opponents immediately. Since you need to pay 2,000 life points to activate it, it also reduces our initial life points from 5,000 to 3,000, which is also the life point requirement to be able to trigger the Firm as the Earth skill, and have the Gaia Power Field spell on our side, adding 500 attack points to our Geargias. After that we have 1, Gaia Power. Increase the attack of all Earth monsters by 500 points and decrease their defense by 400 points. This card will just serve as a backup just in case the Gaia Power from the Firm as the Earth skill was destroyed, or if ever we can't draw the Ties of the Brethren card during the earlier turns of the duel. Then we have 3, Paleozoic Canadia. Target one face-up monster your opponent controls, then change it to face-down defense position. Once per chain, when a trap card is activated while this is in your graveyard, special summon a level 2 Aqua-type water normal monster, with an attack of 1200 and with 0 defense points. This is not treated as a trap card if summoned this way. The card summoned is unaffected by monster effects, also banish it when it leaves the field. Paleozoic Canadia will serve as one of our support cards in this deck. The main effect that we want with this card, is the one that can flip the opponent monster card into a face-down defense position. This works very well against for-hire monsters. Then we have 2, Pulse Mines. If you control a machine-type monster, change your opponent's attack position monsters to defense position, also until the end of this turn. If a monster is normal summoned or special summoned into your opponent's field, change them to defense position. This is another one of our support cards in this deck. Since we control Geargias which are all machine-type monsters, we are able to use this trap card. Once all monsters on your opponent's field has been placed to defense position, you will be able to freely activate the effects of your Geargia monsters. Then we have 2, Desert Sunlight. All monster on your side of the field are changed to face-up defense position. This can help trigger the effects of your Geargia monsters immediately while on the opponent's turn. Always remember to have at least one more Geargia monster on face-up position, before you trigger Desert Sunlight. Lastly we have 1, Curse of Anubis. Change all effect monsters on the field to defense position. Until the end of this turn, the original defense of those monsters becomes 0, also their battle positions can be changed. We have this as a support card as well. You can change this one to Windstorm of Etiquette depending on your preference. That is all for our featured deck. Please watch the replays to get an idea on how to play the deck, and also see on how to pull off an OTK, or one-turn kill using Geargias. If you have suggestions on how to improve the deck, please leave a comment below. For more videos, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Now, let's head on to our replays.
Duel!